The new pandemic of 21st century is that we breathe more than we should. So we either breathe faster and shallower, or we breathe faster and heavier. This fast pace of breathing makes us exhale much more carbon dioxide than we should, and as a result, it makes our breathing inefficient. Oxygen in our body is absolutely useless without sufficient amount of carbon dioxide. So if you have enough oxygen in your blood, but at the same time your body doesn't have enough carbon dioxide, then this oxygen will not be released from your blood to your cells. And as a result, your cells will be in the hypoxic state, in the state of lack of oxygen. We call this process the Bohr effect. So if you would like to check about it a little bit more, just go and Wikipedia it. What makes us breathe faster? What are the reasons for that? And the short answer is that our modern lifestyle. But of course, we can distinguish a few main factors that impact the pace of our breathing. And let's look how it impacts our breathing and why do we actually start to breathe faster and shallower all the time. The first factor is stress. In our modern society, we have a lot of stress. So let's see how it impacts our breathing. When you experience stress, your body starts to breathe faster and shallower. This is a normal adaptation of your body to stress. And it's fine if you felt stress for a little bit and then your body went out of this stress. But the problem happens when you stay in stressed state for a prolonged period of time. If you stay in stress for long enough, then you will breathe fast and shallow for a long period that will be enough for your breathing receptors to learn a wrong pattern about what is a good critical level of carbon dioxide in your body when it should start a new breath cycle. So basically your breathing receptors will treat this fast breathing pace as a new norm. And because of that, you will breathe fast all the time and it will actually get worse. So it's like a vicious cycle, but in fact it's almost like a, how do you call this, spiral movement. It firstly was a small problem and then it became a really, really huge problem. The second factor is food. We eat really badly. We have really poor diets. And even if we kind of trying to balance up our food, we still use a lot of products that are processed and that are acidic and that are just not optimal for our bodies. So once you eat crappy food, let's say you decided to drink a cup of coffee, and coffee is a strong stimulator to your body. Because you drank this coffee, you start to breathe much faster. It's again a normal reaction of your body. Once you have a high acidity, then your breathing will jump in and try to balance up this high acidity. If you drink coffee or eat not ideally all the time, then it will eventually lead you to the same thing happening as in stress. You will breathe faster and shallower quite often, and that will be enough time for your central chemoreceptors to learn a wrong breathing pattern and to think that the way you breathe right now is the most optimal for you. So they will think that this low level of carbon dioxide in your body is a new norm. As a result, you will breathe fast and shallow all the time, and it will impact your metabolism even more, and this is again a vicious cycle. So the third factor is low activity. Here we go. So what happens when you sit the entire day and don't move that much? When you sit, your muscles don't work. And because they don't work, you don't use as much oxygen to create carbon dioxide. Your body just basically creates much less carbon dioxide than it should. And our bodies were not meant to sit 8 hours on the row in front of our laptops. We were actually meant to move a lot, 2, 3, 4 hours a day. So you have a lower level of carbon dioxide in your body because of low activity. And your breathing receptors treats with time, this low level of carbon dioxide as a new norm. They think that, okay, this is how it is. This is the life. And as a result, you breathe much faster. So every new breath cycle in your body is activated a bit earlier than it should be. And this fast breathing becomes your new norm as well. You breathe fast and shallow all the time. And then you continue to sit, and it continues to create this vicious cycle. We really need to break these vicious cycles. And many people will ask me, so does it mean that I actually just need to eat better food and move more and to experience less stress? Yes, for sure, that will absolutely help. But the problem is that, are you ready to cook food for yourself daily, to grow your own food in the garden so that you are aware of what you are eating and that it's not a processed food and you don't eat any junks and you know that this food is really high in nutrients and it's a good quality of food? Are you ready to escape this life and move to the forest, live without phones and laptops and all this unstoppable informational flow that creates a lot of stress on us, or not really? And are you ready to move for 2-3 hours a day? So if you will maintain this kind of different lifestyle, for sure that will not create any problems to your breathing, and you will breathe much better than average modern citizen that we have right now. But the problem that many of us are not ready to escape our life. And it's not the end of the world. There are other ways how we can balance it up and correct our breathing. So basically, we can just simply do this simple breathing exercises regularly for 10 minutes a day. Sometimes, let's say 20-30 minutes, 2-3 times a week would be already enough in order to maintain our breathing in good shape. And we need to do these techniques that helps us to maintain more carbon dioxide inside of our bodies. And this is exactly what we are doing this week. We are working on the interval breathing techniques, and these are the best techniques for maintaining more carbon dioxide in our bodies and balancing up this loss of carbon dioxide that we usually have in our modern society. Holding your breath, it's a great training for your entire body, for your cardiovascular system, for the health of your cells, for everything. So I really believe that those people who wants to have a good quality of life and be really adapted to our modern society, they absolutely need to train their breathing. There is no other way. There is also another issue that we have in the modern society. Is just like a little note, is that in our modern clinical practice, when we go to the doctor would check our oxygen saturation in blood. We would use this oximeter, and every second person has some devices like watch or Oura Ring to track his oxygen saturation of blood, and we would see that our oxygen saturation is actually really high. It's like 97%, 100%, and we will think, oh cool, I'm breathing correctly, there are no any problems with my breathing, when in fact this parameter is just tracking the amount of oxygen inside of your blood, but it doesn't track the amount of oxygen in your cells. So it doesn't show that your breathing is efficient. And unfortunately, to track the amount of oxygen in your cells, it's quite complicated. And in the classical medical world, we don't do these tests. Some people do this test in the lab settings for the scientific research, but that's all. So because of this illusion that you have a really high blood saturation in your blood, people think that they breathe correctly, but this is not the case. And basically, almost everyone needs to train his breathing and make it more efficient, and especially those people who live our modern lifestyle.